another big story that we are tracking on Mirror Now this afternoon. A massive row has erupted after tweets allegedly criticizing centers' handling of COVID crisis were inaccessible to the users on the platform. These were largely tweets by doctors, journalists and some politicians also. Twitter has said that it has only withheld and not removed the posts which were violative of the local rules in India. Now, citing the move, Twitter said that it had received a legal request from the Government of India on removing the COVID posts. Meanwhile, government sources say that action was sought against tweets which were spreading fake news, creating panic and also malicious content.
In fact, they have clarified their positions that these tweets have not been removed, but they have, of course, been withheld. And that is not because it was some sort of information that was given which was not correct. The intention behind the government's complaint was that somewhere they were malicious in nature, they were based on fake news, and somewhere they could have caused panic. And that was the precise reason why the government felt that it was important to tell Twitter and inform Twitter that these tweets need to be removed, and the government, basis the government's complaint, Twitter has acted. These tweets have been withheld in India. That means you cannot view these tweets in the geographical boundaries of India.
In fact, I am now being joined by Nikhil Pava, a cyber expert who will help us understand this entire controversy. Nikhil, thank you for speaking to us. First of all, I want to take you through the details that the Twitter statement has. In fact, Twitter has cited in its statement after this massive row has exploded that if content on Twitter only violates local law, it is withheld by Twitter, and if content will be removed if it violates Twitter rules. Is it something which has been added to Twitter's guidelines recently, or it has always been the norm?
Thanks. I'm actually the editor of the publication which broke the story, and Twitter had responded to us as well. Look, these are tweets from what Twitter responds to legal government orders. And under Section 69A of the Information Technology Act, the government can ask Twitter to remove certain content, and they have done so in the past as well. What happened about 2 months ago, was that they treated some orders as not lawful requests for takedown. And, at that time, if you remember, the Caravan magazine's account was also blocked. In this case, what we are seeing a difference in approach is that Twitter is complying with these orders, even though, for example, a member of Parliament's account has been, that person's tweets, Revat Reddy's tweets have been censored. Bengal Minister Manoy Ghatak's tweets have been censored. Now, we looked at these tweets and they seem to be fairly innocuous. They may have been using pictures and photos for criticism, but that doesn't mean that it isn't a work of criticism. There was doesn't seem to be anything illegal there. But Twitter still complied because under the new IT rules, they are at much greater risk, and there's a potential criminal liability for their officials in India. They seem to have removed it. Again, I can't really say whether these orders are lawful or not because they don't seem to be lawful orders, but someone needs to challenge them in court, and that's when the real picture will come out. But it does seem that the government was attempting to quell criticism here.
Also, in fact, Nikhil, the government sources are telling us that they particularly sought action against certain type of content. In fact, that included fake news, malicious tweets, communal posts and tweets which were creating panic. There has been a raging debate as to whether social media platforms, including Twitter, has any solid system in place which can actually track and spot these kind of content at the first place. And on that, Twitter responded so quickly and, in fact, followed and complied with the government's order.
There is nothing in the law that where the government can ask for the deletion of fake news through these orders. So, look, they are trying to prevent any criticism of their action. They're trying to prevent any criticism also from surfacing, and there has been a large amount of criticism of their mishandling of the COVID situation in the country. And they're just trying to silence their critics. Frankly, here's one very, very important fact. None of the orders that the government has issued here are public. They are not, so we don't know what they've asked to be blocked specifically, apart from what Twitter has disclosed. We don't know what specific grounds, apart from what government sources are saying. If the government feels that it is right, then why doesn't it publish the exact orders, these 50 takedown orders that they have sent to Twitter, and let people decide for themselves? But they're not doing that because they're hiding behind the secrecy which the law incorrectly allows them. That law, Section 69, should not be allowed to stand. It is used for secret government censorship, and now it's applicable to news organizations also. And so today they're censoring tweets on Twitter. Tomorrow they could be censoring websites through the same act, right? And I think we need to be very, very conscious of the harm that such potentially unconstitutional laws are doing to free speech and to our democracy in the country.
Mm-hmm. Also, Nikhil, my last question to you is this, that a few months back, we saw a massive face-off between Twitter and Centre when it came to removal of content. In fact, that entire matter went on to the courts also. And after that, at that point of time, Twitter took a very hard stand and actually advocated for the freedom of expression, freedom of speech. But suddenly, do you think, because of that face-off and the backlash that the Twitter had to face from the government side, this time around, it is not showing so much of substance or so much of stand, and in fact, just complying with the government order silently?
Yes, I do think so. Look, it didn't go to court last time, but it was a massive face-off. I believe if that matter had gone to court then, the government of India would have lost because it was an unlawful order, according to Twitter's claims. In this occasion, what has changed in the interim is that the government has passed these new Information Technology Rules 2021 on the 25th of February. And these rules put a higher compliance burden on entities like Twitter and Facebook, Instagram, and many other platforms. It's because of this additional risk for their employees and for the company in India, because of this higher compliance, that all social media platforms are more likely to err on the side of caution. They are more likely to censor because these rules have given the government more power to censor. So I think that's why Twitter is not fighting back this time. And frankly, I don't know which platform will. If government sends orders to to entities to censor content, they are not going to take the risk because this is an all-powerful government. And they seem to be fairly vindictive on these cases, right, on taking entities to task. And now they have the potential threat of criminal action against the employee of the company that they can impose on it. So we're going, like I said, these rules, to my mind, should be declared unconstitutional. I think it's important for these rules to be challenged in court. And we are seeing here over-compliance on the platform because they are afraid of the government.